Hey guys, what's up? How's it going? In this video, I want to talk about Bloodstained Curse of the Moon. Recently came out May 24th, 2018, this year as of filming this video on modern platforms. I got my version on Nintendo Switch, but it is on Steam and other platforms. And what this is basically a spiritual successor to the Castlevania series. It all started with Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, which was kickstarted several years ago, and this was actually a stretch goal. So that game, Ritual of the Night, is more modern graphics. This one is the 8-bit little brother, and I believe this is the sequel to the main story. It is only $9.99, so basically $10, which is decent. All done in 8-bit. So in this video, I'm going to show you some gameplay, share with you my opinion at the very end, and talk more about Curse of the Moon. Thanks for watching. Here it is, Bloodstained Curse of the Moon, and right off the bat, you'll notice that both audio-wise and graphically, it looks and sounds like it's playing on an NES, outside the aspect ratio being 16:9. This game was developed by Inti Creates. They're probably best known for creating and working on several Mega Man games. There are several difficulty modes, as well as styles. You have Veteran, which is you have X number of lives, where Casual is you have unlimited lives, and when you get knocked back, when you get hit, you don't get knocked back, like in Veteran. It does change the way the game plays. And I noticed in Casual, you get a lot more hearts in the game as well. So it does bring some replay value. I beat it on Casual first, and then I went through and beat it on Veteran. And it took me a little bit longer, although it'll take you about an hour and a half to about a little over 2 hours to beat this game. So it is kind of a short game. The producer and guy behind this, his name is Koji Igarashi. And he was a producer and one of the lead guys behind the Castlevania series for Konami. As many of you guys know, Konami's not making games anymore. They're focusing more on basically gambling machines, right? Slot machines, which is too bad. But this game is basically a Castlevania clone. You start off with this guy here. His name is Zangetsu, and you have this knife here. And each character, there's 4 characters in the game, kind of similar to Castlevania 3. There's 4 characters in the game that you can play as, and you have this weapon in the top right corner. You break these lights, just like it's in Castlevania. You get special items. And you have a special weapon. You can get special weapons. But right now I have this kind of rod thing to collect. But every time you use that weapon, the number goes down. So I have to increase it by basically breaking these lanterns. And I can get health as well. As I mentioned before, Casual, I seem like to get more hearts in Casual mode opposed to playing in normal mode. The boss battles, each level has a boss battle. They're all kind of unique. They're all pattern based. And they're okay. Graphically they're great. But definitely in Casual mode, they do get very easy. There I'm using my special weapon there. And the story itself is pretty basic. You have an intro scroll. You're this guy who's basically off to get the demons. No really story outside the beginning and the very end of the game. There's no story between the game to kind of fill in what's going on. And at the end of each level, the first 4 levels, you meet a character, a different playable character. And you have a choice to either play with them or as them later in the game, or they don't join your party at all. I decided to have them join my party. When you do that, however, you have to basically play through every character before it recycles to play the other character. For example, this chick is named Miriam, and she by far is the best character in the game. She has a long whip. She has a really good special weapon as well. She can slide, unlike other characters. And that's another thing I really like about this game too, is that there's certain part of the games, parts of the screen you can't access without a certain character. So there are various ways to play each level, different paths you can take, which does bring the replay availability of this game pretty high. The thing I didn't like about it, though, is if you die, for example, if I die with her, I have to play through all 3 other characters before I can get the player, unless I beat the level, and then I get all 4 better. This is a guy, his name is Gable, Gebele. He is a vampire. His special weapon, he can turn into a bat, which allow him to fly into certain areas. And when you're flying, it decreases your weapon. This is a certain boss battle, which I thought was really cool. Very NES style. And it does play. I mean, it looks just visually like it's playing on NES, which is awesome. And for $10, you really can't go wrong with this game. I think it's really cool. But the jumping is very stiff. Once you jump, you can't move. So I guess they did that just because it's in the same kind of style as NES. Now you can switch between characters. So if you hit the right and the left shoulder buttons, you can switch. Now the characters' health will stay the same. They will replenish once you beat the level, so you got to be kind of careful of that. So each character has its own life length as far as how much life strength they can have. Alfred, by far, is the worst character in the game. He has a very short staff and short life. I guess he has some really cool magic powers, but he is terrible. And I decided to join my team. Here he is right there, and he's awful. I don't even know why anyone would want to play as Alfred. I'm not even sure why he's in the game, to be honest with you. You can see here, this is Alfred, and I'm playing this kind of painting mural. And I have a staff, and it's very stiff. Controls with him particularly, his jump is very low, and just awful character. One of the worst characters I've played in a video game in a long time, to be honest with you. It's that bad playing as Alfred. One thing I thought really cool about this game is there's actually up to 6 different endings in the game. So if you decide not to get certain characters and have them join you, the ending can change. And if you actually beat the game only playing as Zangetsu and not pick up any of the characters, the ending is actually different as well. So there's good endings, there's bad endings. So it does, again, bring back some replay value. I did notice also that the first 6 or 7 levels are fairly short, and the last 2 are fairly long. It actually took me as much time to go through the last 2 levels than it did the whole game before that. And the game is difficult, but it's not that hard, to be honest with you. I'd say Shovel Knight is much more difficult. I literally died hundreds of times playing Shovel Knight, playing this game. This game, I only died several times going through it, so it's not as hard, but there are different difficulty settings which will make it much more challenging for you. So overall, what I think about Bloodstained Curse of the Moon, it is a very short game. It took me about an hour and a half to complete all 8 levels, so it is very short. The good thing is, though, that each level has various paths you can take. There's some replay value, and as I mentioned before in the video, there are actually up to 6 different endings in the game, so there's some replay value there. The music is all done in 8-bit, as you could tell. It's really good. Kudos to Koji and the team at NT Creates for really making this game feel very old school 8-bit. It's different than games like Shovel Knight, for example, because I feel like Curse of the Moon, graphically, the color palette wise, I feel like it would actually work on the NES. It is 16:9, not 4:3 like the standard NES, so it is a little bit stretched in that regard, but overall I feel like they've really tried to stay true with the feel of the NES. Now, a couple downturns about this game that I don't really care for is the fact that after every boss battle, there's always some type of cheap hit. So you defeat the boss, and for some reason, the boss basically has one more hit, and hurts you, and it's really hard to avoid those hits. So if you're low in health, that can be a bad thing. Also, I like the fact that you can switch between characters. That's really cool. But unfortunately, Alfred, that character is super weak. He has very, very weak, not only health points in the game, but his weapon is absolutely terrible. I guess the one saving grace for him is he has some really cool magic powers, but better off not getting him altogether, because if you do end up getting him, you're forced to play through every character before you can recycle to the character you like. Another downside is the fact that the jumping mechanic is very stiff. Once you jump, you can't move left or right, so it is very stiff. I guess they did that to make it feel like the classic NES Castlevania games. That is a good thing. However, in more modern games, I'm used to platformers where I can actually jump and have some control, like in Mario Brothers, for example. I have some control where I'm going, and if you get hit, especially playing on regular mode, you get hit, pushed back, just like in Shovel Knight and other classic games, and that can get very frustrating. Fortunately, there are multiple difficulty settings, and there's one difficulty setting you can set where if you hit, you don't jump back. Overall, I feel like the price is right for $10. I really feel you can't go wrong picking up Bloodstained Curse of the Moon. It is a game, if you like classic 8-bit NES games, it is a game worth checking out. It is a quick game, something you can pick up and play. I'm really excited for Ritual of the Night to come out. That's going to be really awesome. And I'm really glad that Koji is carrying on this type of game. Even though it's not technically Castlevania, it is, because he was the producer of the original Castlevania series, and it definitely is a Castlevania clone. There's no two ways about it. This game is a Castlevania clone. So if you played Castlevania, you enjoy those games, do yourself a favor, pick up Bloodstained. If you don't like retro games, you may want to wait for the more modern version to come out, which is Ritual of the Night. Thank you so much for watching this video. I appreciate you guys checking out. Please subscribe. Please like this video. Leave a comment below. We'll see you guys soon. Take care and game on.